Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Health Made Simple Show. I'm your host, Dr. Bart. Thank you for being here. I'm glad to have you for this conversation. Today's podcast is going to be about binders. So we could go really, really deep into all the science behind binders, yet in fashion of the Health Made Simple Show, I'm going to keep this as simple and as short as I possibly can to just help you along your way making good, smart decisions in your journey to help just level yourself up, become the best human that you can be. All right. With that being said, keep doing your thing, keep sharing out, keep spreading love. I appreciate that you guys are here, and I appreciate that you keep on sharing it with your friends and family. How do I know you're doing it? Because I keep getting people saying, hey, I just got introduced to your podcast. Thank you for this and thank you for that. It's made these type of differences. And folks, that's why we do it. I'm going to continue to do the best that I can to help make health simple. I know it's not easy, but to simplify it and try to just help us all know that, listen, we have the opportunity to be amazing human beings, every single one of us. Never lose sight of that, no matter how sick or how derailed you might think you are. I promise you this. When you get back on your journey of becoming an awesome human being, on the journey of becoming a human being that has non-interference, not from chemicals, not from emotions, not from negative thoughts, not from all the stuff that could interfere with your greatness, then you get to experience what it's like to be an awesome human being, which you are. All right, that being said, thank you for being here. All right, let's talk a little bit about binders. Binders are probably one of the newest, I don't know about new yet, one of the more popular conversations that we're having. And I will tell you this from the front. They are not sexy, but they are smart. Smart for us to be using them. In fact, I'll go as far as saying this. I think that using a binder, I'm going to give you a very specific one that I think is an absolutely brilliant formula from Standard Process, and I'll break down why I think it is brilliant. I think that taking a binder should be considered very similar to the concept we have about taking a multivitamin. I think it is the new multivitamin, even though it has really no vitamins in it. Meaning this. Often we think, well, I should probably take some type of multivitamin every day because vitamins would be good for me. And I would agree that we need vitamins. But just using that concept right now, teaching functional medicine to literally doctors all over the country, teaching it to my patients, functional nutrition, everywhere I go. One of the messages I'm sending right now is that we cannot avoid, unfortunately, toxins. If you are eating 100% organic, like I do, maybe not 100%, yet I am 95% or better until I travel. But even then, the level of exposure of toxins that we have is at a critical mass. There's over 100, or maybe much more, over 100 forever chemicals, meaning that chemicals that we can't get off this earth anymore. We're making things that are toxic to the human body. There are chemicals everywhere. If you went out to eat today, you were exposed to things like pesticides and herbicides, unless your food was 100%. And maybe you had one meal today that was organic. How about all the others? The herbicides, the pesticides, all the chemicals, the glyphosate, all of these different things are coming into our body. And no doubt, we need vitamins and nutrients and to eat all our good food. I agree. And yet at this point, I think having something on our side to just eliminate toxins might be the smartest. And it's not the sexiest thing. It's not going to make us skinny. It's not going to make us think more, but actually might help us in all of those things. But having something to help get rid of toxins, I think might be the most important thing that we can do moving forward. And it's just a thing that we're going to do every single day. All right, with that being said, what are we trying to eliminate? All the bad guys. All the bad guys that keep coming into our body, we're trying to bind them and get rid of those. So let me talk a little bit about this formula. There's a couple things. So in the past, you might have heard of things like charcoal. When we have charcoal in the body, it binds all the bad guys and get rid of it. So there's true. That is a binder, but that's not what we're talking about. We want a little bit of smarter formula because the challenge with things like charcoal, unfortunately, it binds everything, even, your vitamins or your medications. It'll bind all those stuff and all that stuff and get rid of them. And let me go back to why do we want to get rid of toxins? At the end of the day, the greatest version of you is going to be a version that is massively just constantly producing super high levels of highly functioning mitochondria, period. If we really did the math, we really talked about what at the bottom line, what's taking place, the best version of you is a version of you that is producing and has massive amounts of mitochondria. Yet, no matter what we take, no matter what antioxidant, what glutathione, NAD, NAM, whatever it may be, and all the new stuff that's coming, they're all wonderful. I use them all, and I also recommend them. Yet, We got to get the bad guys out, because if the bad guys get into the cell and they get into the mitochondria and they interrupt with the function and the facility and how the human body is trying to produce ATP, you're not the best version of yourself. So this is why this is, to me, using a binder. The name of this, and I'll refer to this a couple of times, is called GI adsorb, and that's AD, not AB as in boy. It's AD as in dog. Big difference right there. I'll explain that in just a moment. So it's called GI adsorb, and I'll tell you how to take it in just a moment here. Anyways, all right. So this is my kind of case that, yes, not sexy. Yes, very, very smart. We need to get the toxins out of our body, and every single one of us is exposed to massive levels of toxins. All right, so let's talk about what it does. It adsorbs, and that by itself is a little bit different, meaning this. When it adsorbs, it binds, it does not pull things into the cell. Rather, it works like a magnet and it binds it to the outside. And this is very important to understand, because if we are going through a detox phase and we keep pulling things into the cell, back into the mitochondria, through the Krebs cycle, recirculated to be then kicked out later through some liver or function or whatnot, we are recirculating all those toxins. We don't really want to do that. We want to be able to bind it like a magnet to this binder, what's called a zeolite or a clineptolite. Technically, it's an ancient ash. That's the part we could go hours deep into a podcast of just that. We're not going to do that. I'm going to tell you that it's what's called a clineptolite or a zeolite. Those are binders. They are selective binders. And here's what's cool. They are selective in knowing what should be and should not be in the human body by structure. I don't know how it does it, but it does it. So I'm not a scientist. I'm a clinician. I'm someone who helps people get better and help become the best version of themselves. But I don't know all the science behind these things. But I do understand what it does for us from the physiological position, how our bodies work. And if we have toxins in them, we'd be in trouble. And if we can remove them in a safe, gentle way, gentle is also important here. If we can do that in such a way that it doesn't create more inflammation or, quite frankly, more risk, then heck, let's get on board. Let's figure out what we can utilize on a daily basis to get rid of these toxins. So it is a zeolite, a clineptolite. It is a binder, a selective binder that binds the bad guys. What bad guys am I talking about? Herbicides, pesticides, glyphosate, maybe some other heavy metals, all of the above. Those are the things we're exposed to every single day. So again, zeolite, clineptolite, they're selective, and AB absorbent. So an absorbent would be something that pulls it into the cell. This is an adsorbent. AD as in dog. It binds it to the outside of the cell. Again, this is a formula that came out probably, I'm going to say 2 years. I might be off there, but I'm going to say about 2 years. I've been using it clinically for the last 2 years. And again, not super sexy, but absolutely important. What do I notice? People that take it, basically like myself, just have less problems now. If we can continue to provide the nutrients, the foods, the resources that our bodies need to function, recover, rebuild, and reproduce, quite frankly, at a high level, and we reduce the amount of toxins coming into our body, that's when we get the opportunity to really excel as human beings. That's when we get to do little things like anti-age and then defy things like aging itself and defy the laws, or not even the laws, what these preconceived notions that just because we get older, we're supposed to get worse. And listen, it is a compounding effect when it comes to toxins. A lot of these are just building up in our body and we're not doing much. You might be doing wonderful things in terms of putting new nutrients into your body. Beautiful. Keep doing that. And this is going to help pull some things out. So what's in it is this. So it's an ancient ash. And here's where I think the brilliance is. So it doesn't end there. So if you are going to bind things, we want to be mindful. If we are going to start binding things together, there's the possibility that they might not want to come out so easy. So what do we do? What are the makers of the product did? So the intelligent people, the brilliant people, I should say, up at Standard Process and their research labs and all their scientists, they decided that they would add a couple components here to really make it very easy for the human body to be able to bind these. Really easy for our physiology and our biology to bind these, but then also eliminate. So they added another root, which is colosana root, which I speak about all the time. I use it for so many different things. We use it like in hemorrhoids or in varicose veins and spider veins, those type of formulas. But colosana root helps things move out of the body easily. So literally it helps us poop a little bit better. So fantastic. It does create some really good integrity and strength and tone to the vascular system. But for this purposes, it helps those things that have been bound up move out of the body properly. Then the big question comes about, what about heavy metals? Well, we do want to remove heavy metals, and we've known for years the safest, simplest element to help remove heavy metals is something called chlorella. And of course, because they're brilliant men and women, they decided to put that in this formula as well. So it's the ancient ash, it has the calisandra, and it has the chlorella. So we're doing, when you take this, and I'll tell you how to take it in just a moment, you'll be taking it and you're going to get rid of toxins. You're going to start to do a low, slow, safe heavy metal detox. Just a quick side note on this. When people come to me, or if I test, we do it all. We have a hair analysis we can use for making sure to determine your level of heavy metals. If you have heavy metals, folks, do not go into some crazy online thing about dumping all these metals out of your liver, et cetera. They will recirculate, most likely end up in your brain. Just so be gentle, be careful, get with someone that understands how to gently, safely is the key thing here. Bind those metals up and protect them from going into recirculation, protect them from going deeper into your tissues or deeper up into your brain, and get them out of your body. So that formula right there between the calisandra root, between the chlorella and this clineptolite, zeolite, this ancient ash, man, this becomes a valuable tool for us to help our bodies get rid of these toxins. Because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, we got to protect our mitochondria, our human function, our energy, our vitality, our ability to recover cells, our musculoskeletal system. Everything goes back down to how many and how frequently and how well are our mitochondria function. So let's talk a little bit about the dosing. So the way they did this in research, so you can think of this a couple different ways. One, you can take it first thing in the morning, and that would be perfect because when we get up, our body's typically eliminating. And when we're eliminating, we'd like to bind all these things that our bodies have worked very, very hard to get rid of. We can bind them and help them move out of the system. Fantastic. Ideally, take it on an empty stomach. So most of you are going to take about 3. You might take 2. And if you know you are putting more junk in your body, help your body out. Bind more. So when I travel and I know I'm going to restaurants that I know there's going to be canola oil, I know there's going to be pesticides, I know there's going to be herbicides in the food. They're not all organic. I take more of it. It's called GI adsorb. Now, if you really want to double down and you think you're having some issues with toxicities, maybe it's a little bit of heavy metals, maybe just you're toxic, you've just had too much junk in your body. You've been exposed to all different types of things. You can take a nighttime dose as well. Take 2 or 3 capsules before. So typically what I'll have people do is go on about 4 straight weeks, about 28 days. They'll go on it. Typically I choose one or the other, whichever one I think they're most compliant in. So give yourself, do a little check-in with yourself. What are you absolutely going to do a better job with? Taking something in the morning or taking something right before you go to bed? Well, either case, you're going to do it on an empty stomach. You might choose to double down, take a little bit at night, take a little bit in the morning. Typically 3 capsules. If you're a little bigger person, over 200 pounds, take an additional capsule. If you are putting more pollutants into your body, take more. All right. With that being said, go about 28 days. So about 4 straight weeks, and then just come off it. Just stay off for 2 or 3 days and then go back on. I do believe that this is in a category of the concept we used to have, taking a multivitamin every day. I think with the level of toxins that we're exposed to, this is unavoidable. I will tell you in advance, it is not super sexy. It is not one of the ones that you're going to go on and be like, oh my goodness, I took this last night and look at all the energy I have today. I don't think you're going to experience that, especially for most of you. You're already on your health journey. This is a smart thing to do. This is a smart thing for us to put into our bodies to help get rid of the crap that's in there. All right. With that being said, keep doing your thing. Keep sharing this out. Keep spreading the love. Think about or consider your next level might consist of you helping your body eliminate these toxins in such a way that you're binding onto them and getting rid of them. I appreciate that you're here for another episode of the Health Made Simple Show. I look forward to having you again on the next episode. In the meantime, make sure you're taking deliberate action for your mind, your body, your overall wellness. Y'all be awesome.